Okay, everybody, welcome back to the Sports Fellas Gambling Podcast. This will be our 8th episode of the season. This episode, we're going to dig into the NFL. We're going to find some winners for you for this weekend. We're going to basically give you 10 different games, unless we agree on a few. We have me and my partner, Dave. What we're going to do is go back and forth, pick our top 5 most confident picks. We're going to rank them, 1 being the least confident we are in it. It'll be a 1-point pick, and then we'll go to all the way up to our 5-point picks, which are our most confident in. We'll come back Monday when we guess lines, and we'll score things out. We missed the last couple weeks of doing winners due to some technical difficulties, but I'm pretty excited to get right back into it. It is a tough slate, but I think it's going to be one that we can find some winners in. What do you think, Dave? You ready for a big Week 7 in the NFL?
Yeah, I'm ready. I'm not liking this week's slate too much. There's a lot of close games with a lot of question marks, a lot of toss-ups, a lot of if he plays, if he doesn't play, So it's going to be an interesting week this week, to say the least.
Yeah, that'd be a good time for us to tell you to give us a follow at The Sports Fellas and check out thesportsfellas.com because information changes, injuries happen. We're going to be tweeting you updates. If we change our picks, if we have any extra thoughts, it'll be on our Twitter account or on our website. So that would be the place to go to as you get ready to make your plays on Sunday afternoon. But I'm ready to get into it. I'm excited for a big weekend. Dave, you ready for this?
Yes, sir. Let's do it. I'll start it off.
Awesome.
All right.
You start us off with your least confident pick.
All right, my least confident, I feel like my least confident picks always hit. So, but I'm starting off with Minnesota at the Philadelphia Eagles. I'm going with the total. The total's set at 39.5 right now, and I'm going under. Both these teams match up well against each other. They both have very stout front sevens, so they're going to be able to match up with each other's offenses. Minnesota's offensive line isn't that great. Philadelphia should be able to cause a lot of disruption, a lot of pressure on Sam Bradford, put him in some bad throwing situations, and they can't really run the ball to begin with, so that's just added pressure on Bradford. So we'll see how he fares. And then on the opposite side, you got Minnesota. It could be the best defense, second best defense in the league beside Seattle, but against a rookie quarterback in Carson Wentz, he's kind of showed his flaws the past 2 weeks. Although he's been on the road, he has been playing better at home. But teams are starting to figure him out, starting to figure out that offense, so they'll be able to match up well with them. So I think it's going to be a real defensive struggle, that game, which is why I like the under at 39.5. It's low as it is, but it's low for a reason. This is going to be a low-scoring game, so I like the under. 39.5 in the Minnesota and Philadelphia game.
Awesome, and you know what? I actually like it too. And we'll just, instead of talking about it, we'll go right into my least confident pick, which is it's going to be a teaser. It's going to be very similar to what you were just talking about. I'm sticking with that total. I'm going to tease the total because, like you said, it is really low. And I would have been all over it if I saw it at like 41 or 42. Just to see it that low kind of scared me off. So I'm teasing it up to 45.5, it looks like. And I'm going to correlate that with the Eagles at home. Going to add 6 points and get them to 9. The reason I'm doing it is really, you hit on the under completely. I completely agree. Both offensive lines are clearly the team weakness. Lane Johnson was out last week, and Ryan Kerrigan absolutely destroyed the right tackle. I don't see, Brian Robeson. I don't see, Everson Griffin or Danielle Hunter having any problems getting to Carson Wentz. On the other side, Minnesota's the Philadelphia defense is amazing. We saw it last time Sam Bradford was on the field. He was amazing. He was making, quick passes, accurate passes, but he was getting drilled on a ton of them. The Houston Texans without J.J. Watt were just destroying Sam Bradford. He played really well to get them that win. And they did put up 31 points, but that was at home. Coming off the bye week, they have the Bears next week is something to look to. The fact that I like the Eagles plus 9 is really, like I said, you get the Bears. You have a team on the road coming off a bye week. The Eagles coming off 2 straight losses. 2 quarterbacks who do not turn the ball over. they're going to get hit. They're going to take sacks. Neither of them's going to run the ball. But these two, Sam Bradford and Carson Wentz is still really good. Despite those two losses, he threw one bad pass at the end of the Detroit game. He was really fine against Washington. It was more of the defense's issues defending the run. So I think that they get back to it. They defend the run really well against a poor Minnesota offensive line. Both teams are one-dimensional. Neither team can really score much. I'm saying, it might be 17-10 Minnesota, where, I would lose the +3 if I was on Philly, but you tease it up over a touchdown. You combine the under in the Philadelphia Eagles. So I really like that going off of your play as well. So that is my 5-point play.
Nice. I like it as well. I wanted to go with the Eagles. I couldn't. I feel like it's the Carolina Panthers all over again from last year. You keep wanting to fade them at some point, but they just keep coming back and surprising you, playing really good defense. And they're getting good quarterback play out of Sam Bradford. So, but I like getting them more than a touchdown though. So I definitely like that tease.
Yeah, you're exactly right. I didn't have the guts. I like Philadelphia's spot, but I didn't have the guts to take them at 3 just to get them over a touchdown. I feel a little bit more confident in it.
Right. Okay. So my second pick, my number 2 pick will be the Kansas City Chiefs. At -6, they will be hosting the New Orleans Saints. New Orleans got their win last week, and they're pretty much out of playoff contention, I'd say. So coming on the road, they really I can't find the motivation after getting the win last week, and they're in grass, which Drew Brees does terrible on the road as well. He's not the same as in the dome. So, and Kansas City, their pass defense is one of the best in the league. They can match up with this high-octane offense of theirs. And their running game, they're actually been running the football their last game. It worked out well for them as they knocked off the who they beat. They beat Oakland 26-10. They didn't stick to their original scheme to start the season where Alex Smith was throwing the ball 30 to 40 times a game. Now, he only threw it, I believe, 22 times, and then they ran the ball. They gutted Oakland for 150. Let me see here. Hold on one sec. Yeah, they got him for close to 200 rushing yards. So that's the style of offense they play. That's where they thrive at. That's where Alex Smith is, that's where his game manager experience comes into handy. So I think it's a bad spot for New Orleans. They really don't have much to play for. Kansas City is in a competitive AFC West, so they need to get the wins while they can. Also, Kansas City's gone 5-0 in their last 5 games at home. They're hard to beat. Arrowhead is one of the hardest stadiums to play at. So Drew Brees is going to have his hands full, and I don't see the motivation for them. This is more of a must-win for Kansas City to stay competitive in the AFC East. So my play will be Kansas City -6 at home against New Orleans.
Yeah, I definitely like that play. I could see myself agreeing with it. I did end up going with it, but like you said, there's a lot to like with Kansas City. Spencer Ware seems to just continually be running the ball. Guys like Chris Conley and Tyreek Hill are stepping up as receivers. So, against that Saints defense, it's going to be bad. And like you said, Breeze on grass is just really bad. And you add in that it's not just grass, it's Kansas City, which is a great home field. I could totally get behind that one for you.
Right, and the way they run the football, New Orleans can't stop a nosebleed. So good luck to them. They've given up 400 yards their last game, 346 yards the game before. They're just not good. They can't stop anything. So I feel pretty confident in that Kansas City pick.
Yeah, I agree with you. Let's get on to my second play of the game or the day, which is my 2-point play. It's going to be a total. It's going to be the Sunday night football game. I am going under between the Seattle Seahawks and the Arizona Cardinals. I'm seeing it at 43 right now. Right. I don't think it goes much over 40, to be completely honest. The reason I'm saying this is the Seattle Seahawks are really good in Arizona. That team shows up every time they play Arizona. We talk about Arizona's really good. Well, the last 3 times that Seattle was there, they won all 3 of them. Right. And in the last 2 times that that Seattle was there, they gave up 6 points in 6 points. So 12 points combined in the last 2 games. that Seattle was in Arizona. The other thing, I mean, Seattle, you mentioned their defense already when it comes to Minnesota. There's Seattle, there's Minnesota, and there's Denver, and then there's, a bunch of other defenses behind that. I know Michael Bennett is banged up right now. I know Cam Chancellor's banged up right now. But the other reason that I'm going with this under is, the Arizona offense. And what I'm seeing out of the Arizona offense is this team is changing their philosophy. They used to be Carson Palmer. I'm dropping back. I'm taking, 5 and 7 step drops, and I'm slinging it to my guys. I'm throwing it downfield. It's a Bruce Arians offense. We know what Bruce Arians likes to do. He likes to throw the ball downfield. He likes those deep ball receivers. I mean, he has like 8 of them. But the thing that they've done in the last 2 or 3 weeks is relied on David Johnson, and it's worked out completely well, so well, that they have to continue to do this. They're going to continue to run the ball, and that's going to it's going to slow down the pace of the game. It's going to shorten the game, and it's going to turn it into a defensive game. And this is an Arizona team that knows what Seattle, has done in the past 3 trips there. They know that, we're still behind Seattle in the standings. We got off to a rough start because we're slinging the ball down the field and all that. So we need to run the ball, and we need to play big-time defense against Russell Wilson. And they should be able to. They got this kid, Marcus Golden, who seems to have a sack in every game. Chandler Jones seems to have a sack in every game. The Seattle offensive line, we know what that is. They have Calais Campbell on the defensive line in Arizona. I just see that defensive line getting after Russell Wilson, a lot of punts, but I don't see Seattle, letting this thing slip away. So it's going to be a short game. It's going to be a slow-paced game on both sides. They're both happy to play a low-scoring defensive game. So I like both teams, a 17-10 type of game like we said in Minnesota-Philly. I like the same thing on Sunday Night Football in primetime.
Oh yeah, I definitely agree with that game too. That game, anytime they play, it's always about defense and field position. That's definitely what should happen in that game, and that's actually part of a play that I have coming up later in the show. But
Nice.
yeah. So moving on to my third pick, I believe it is. Yeah, third. I will be going with the Tennessee Titans -3. They're hosting the Indianapolis Colts at home. This all of a sudden turned into a big battle for the AFC South positioning. Tennessee actually has gone 1-6 in their last 7 at home against Indianapolis. So, that's in their back of their mind. So I find that as motivation because this is actually a very good Tennessee team. A solid, I'm not going to say great, but they're pretty solid on both the offensive and defensive side of the football. And then Marcus Mariota's actually been tearing it up the past 2 games, which is good. It's good. It's a momentum builder leading into this big divisional matchup. They've actually totaled against Cleveland. They put up 407 total yards of offense. And then against Miami, they put up 398 yards of offense. So the offense is clicking. The ground game's been there all year. It was just really on Marcus Mariota getting his act together, and he's actually been playing some good football as of late. So I really feel good about them at home hosting a team that's owned them in the past. And Indianapolis, I mean, other than luck, there's just not much to like about this team. They give up so many. Their past 2 games against Houston, they gave up 414 yards, and then against Chicago, they gave up 522 yards. There's not a lot of defense. There's holes all over the defense, and then with Tennessee's running attack, they're gonna have a tough time stopping DeMarco Murray, and then 2 of their corners, Darius Butler and Patrick Robinson, they're still questionable for this game. So if those guys are out, they really just have Vontae Davis manning the secondary, which, I mean, he's good, but he can't do it all. And with the way that Marcus Mariota has been playing, I like him to spread the ball out and pick on this defense. So that's going to be added pressure on Andrew Luck. And Tennessee's defense is actually, I've been impressed by them. They're a solid unit. And I think that they should be able to cause enough pressure on Andrew Luck to rattle him in this game, which is why I like Tennessee -3 at home this week in a big divisional matchup. I'm going with the team that usually has the history of losing to Indianapolis, but I'm back in Tennessee this week.
Yeah, I completely agree with you on this one. I'm actually surprised that it didn't end up making my cut. like you said, the thing that actually really surprised me about Tennessee is I'm looking at the DVOA ratings, and they're, I believe it's their 10th in offensive
Yes.
DVOA and their 9th in defensive DVOA.
Yes, very solid team.
Yeah, as far as efficiency, they're a top 10 team in both sides of the football. We mentioned Brian Arakpo's getting into the swing of things. But really, the only reason that this didn't make my top 5 was because of Andrew Luck and because, like you said, the history of, Luck owning this team is there.
Right.
But it's a good play, and I love it a lot, and I could totally get behind the Titans in this one.
Right, yeah. They opened up at -1.5, I believe. Now they're at 3. I mean, I should have bit sooner, but I still feel confident laying the field goal in this one. I think they should handle Indianapolis with the way they've been playing, so I definitely feel good about this pick.
Yeah, this was a team last year, I'm pretty sure, when the Colts went to Tennessee, that Tennessee had a big lead. I think they did end up blowing the lead and losing, but they did have a big lead. So maybe, this year the thought is, let's finish this thing off. We are better than them. We knew it last year, and we know it again this year. Let's actually do it. So I could totally get behind that one.
Right.
Let's move on to my number 3 play, and this one is going to be the Baltimore Ravens at the New York Jets. And I'm going with the Jets on this one when it seems like nobody in the entire world is going to go with the Jets.
There you go.
But like you said, how that Tennessee spread ended up flying out a little bit. This game opened pick'em, and it's right now -2 for the Jets. I'm saying get in on it before it goes to -3. And the reason I'm saying this is really there's one big reason, and it's Joe Flacco. And I know I'm pretty sure he was limited in practice today, but today, this is Friday, August 21st, by the way. Today was the first day that he practiced all week. He has a shoulder injury. I believe it's his rotator cuff. It's sidelined him all week. We noticed it. I mean, we don't know if it's the injury, but we looked it up. Joe Flacco has a 6.0 yards per attempt rate. If you're not sure how the yards per attempt go, that's awful.
Yeah.
It's the equivalent to Blaine Gabbert's career, who's a check down artist, who's a guy that's not going to extend the field. So Flacco's throwing the ball a ton. He's getting absolutely nothing out of it. He's a guy who has always had flawed mechanics. You add in a torn rotator cuff, and I just see him, he wants to attack this Jets defense with, a ton of holes in it, but I just don't see it going well in any way at all. You look at the injury report from the Ravens last week in their loss to the Giants. C.J. Mosley was on it. Steve Smith was on it. Elvis Dumervil was on it. Marshall Yonda was out. These guys, I'm not hearing anything good about any of them potentially coming back to play in this one. Not only that, I'm hearing, Terrell Suggs has now torn his bicep.
Yeah, he's out. He's out for the game.
He's out for that game, which I did not even realize yet. I mean, this team is absolutely depleted. They're 3-3. They're on the road at the Jets. And, I mean, you want to talk about Geno Smith. It's probably not a big upgrade from Ryan Fitzpatrick, but I want to say the mentality between changing your quarterback from Smith to Fitzpatrick. It's not the exact same thing, but we saw it when the Bills fired their offensive coordinator, that a lot of the other players in the offense perked up and said, oh, man, heads are starting to roll. Let's get this thing going. There's some young receivers on the Jets, Jalen Marshall and Robbie Anderson specifically, that I just think, with Brandon Marshall a leader, against an awful Ravens secondary, they are going to stop the run. They're going to, load up. They're going to shut them down. They do have a really good run defense. But I see that secondary, whether it's Geno Smith or not, I think these young guys step up. I think he relies exclusively on Brandon Marshall. So at the end of the day, the Jets have to show up at some point. They're not just going to call their season like some people think. Somebody's going to want to play for Geno Smith, and most of them are going to say, well, I need to step up because I'm not getting benched like Ryan Fitzpatrick did.
Right.
So I think that you've seen inspired Jets performance. The Ravens are so beat up and so depleted that I just don't see them showing up at all. So give me the Jets in this one. I kind of think they roll, as surprising as that sounds given the records, but I like the Jets.
Yeah, actually, that's my next pick is the Jets for my fourth pick. Yeah, I really like it. Not just you bench Fitzpatrick, but they're also 1-5. Or yeah, are they 1-5? They're 1-5.
Yep. Yeah, they're 1-5.
So that not only means that the quarterback position's job was on the line, but everyone's job's on the line. So everyone needs to step up this game. And I think with the quarterback change, I think that will spark some life into the offense. And they'll be able to drive the ball against a very suspect Ravens defense. Cause I don't like their secondary at all. I think it's been suspect since day one of this season. Baltimore, I'm talking about.
It has been.
Right, and then also, you said that Jets opened up as even and now they're -2. Well, also 67% of the bets are coming in on Baltimore, so that kind of tells you that sharp money is moving towards the Jets. The only real thing that worried me was maybe they're trying to get Jets to -3 so they could pick up Baltimore +3, but I just don't see that happening with the way Flacco's been playing. You mentioned is it for sure that he tore his rotator cuff, or he just has a rotator injury?
I'm pretty sure it was just a rotator cuff injury, but I'd have to honestly look that up.
Okay, because I just saw Rashad Jones, safety for Miami Dolphins, just hit the IR because he tore his rotator cuff. So I mean, it may not be as severe, but you know what? For a quarterback, that's pretty bad because you're throwing the ball the whole time. And Joe Flacco has been throwing the ball a lot recently. And to who? What receivers do they have? I think their leading receiver has been their tight end, Dennis Pitta. Steve Smith's out for this game. Kamar Aiken hasn't done much. Mike Wallace is a deep threat. He'll get about 3 receptions, maybe a touchdown. And their line, I haven't been impressed with their line either. The whole Ravens offense to me has just been very bleak. Nothing to like about it. So coming again to MetLife Stadium to play the Jets this time. Gotta like the Jets in this spot, especially after benching Fitz, who's been the number one player holding them back, I'd say. So, yeah, I'm with you on this one. Got a little background music.
Yeah, I was trying to look up that Joe Flacco status. Instead, I got ads.
Okay. Yeah, but I'm with you. I'm with you, brother. I like the Jets -2 this week. So that's my fourth confidence pick this week.
Nice. I mean, we clearly agree with it. Like you said, I don't think it's sharp money pushing this thing out to 3, because what kind of sharp person in their right mind would say, oh, Joe Flacco has a shoulder injury, let's bet on him, let's push this thing out and then, load up on Joe Flacco.
Right.
I just don't see it. The only reports that I really saw was all the Ravens are saying is it's a shoulder injury, it's not severe. But I just don't think it's a good sign, especially since he hasn't practiced all week.
Right, yeah. They're downplaying it, but it could be bigger than what it is.
Yeah, so let's move on to my second play, which is my 4-pointer here. I'm going with a road dog, and I'm going with the San Diego Chargers. Despite going across the country, I like them getting 6.5 against the Atlanta Falcons. And we mentioned it a little bit on the guessing lines thing, that the Falcons situation, I mean, you go from, they beat down the Panthers at home. They go to the road to Denver. They really show up for that one. They beat the Denver Broncos in Denver. They go all the way to Seattle. They have I think it was a 21-point third quarter, on their way to taking a lead from Seattle. They blew a game that pretty much the whole world got to watch the end of that game and that pass interference. And, the whole world's kind of sitting back and thinking, wow, this Atlanta team should have beat Seattle. They're really legitimate. But when you play those 3 teams, 1, 2, 3 like that, the big thing that I'm thinking is that's a lot of travel and that's a lot of wear and tear on your body, especially 2 of the most physical teams in the NFL to date in the Seahawks and Broncos. So I know that you come back home, you get a little home cooking, but this is a team that lost to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers at home to start their season. So it's not like, the home field is the biggest thing in the world. Meanwhile, the Chargers, you want to talk about banged up. I mean, they are banged up, but they've been banged up and they've been dealing with it. And now this is a team that finally got a 10-day break. They got to play on Thursday night football. They finally get that, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. They're not getting players back as far as health-wise, but they're going to, the players that are out there are going to get healthy as far as health-wise. The Falcons are really bad against the tight end, and it just so happens that Hunter Henry and Antonio Gates apparently, has been dealing with some stuff, but he's one of those guys that really gets those, those 10 days are really big for Antonio Gates. So I see those 2 tight ends going off on them. I think they'll be able to run the ball. I just don't think, this Falcons thing is nice, and it is legitimate. I believe in their offensive line. I believe in them a lot. But at home, feeling really confident about yourself, but you're way more banged up than the other team. Phillip Rivers, we've been saying it all year. He's about a top 5 quarterback if you could name any of them. He's doing this thing with Tyrell Williams and Dontrell Inman, and it's been impressive. And I just don't see it ending this week facing a weak Atlanta defense. So I'm not sure if I can, call off the, go for the money line, maybe sprinkle a little something on it, but I definitely like them getting 6.5, and especially on Sunday, I think you can get it up to a touchdown. So I'm going to sit around and wait for this thing to go to 7, and I'm going to pounce on the Chargers at +7.
Wow. Yeah, I'm for my next pick. I actually have San Diego in it as well. That is a tough road trip for Atlanta to do. They definitely got banged up. They're definitely feeling the after effects of it. And you mentioned their defense isn't good. And Phillip Rivers is a top 5 quarterback in this league, and he always gives San Diego a chance in any game they play. So, and against that weak defense, yeah, I like it. But my play actually is a teaser. I got San Diego right now currently at 12.5.
Right.
But like you said, I'm gonna wait to probably try to get them at +7, then hit the teaser. But yeah, I like San Diego in that spot. Phillip Rivers always gives them a chance, And so my other team that I will be teasing will be the San Francisco 49ers to +5. The reason why I've been trying to get San Francisco the last couple of games, but they've let me down. But I like the switch to Kaepernick. Gabbert wasn't the answer there. So Kaepernick, I think he could give a jolt of life to this offense, to this whole team actually. While Tampa Bay almost lost to Carolina, who had Derek Anderson under quarterback. And you saw the way that Carolina's defense has been playing. They've been giving up a lot of points, and Tampa Bay could only put up 17 against them. So, and then traveling across country, it's a tough buy. And then you remember when Tampa Bay went to go visit Cardinals, they got blown out like 40-7 or something like that. So
Yep.
I think playing on the road will be a factor. Also, San Fran's, they have the history on their side too. They've gone 9-1 in their last 10 at home against Tampa Bay. Also going 5-1 against the spread in that time. Also, it looks like there's 60% on Tampa Bay right now. Yet it's moving in favor of San Fran. So I doubt there's. Sharps are probably split on this one, but I don't think Tampa Bay is that great. They have trouble stopping the run. I believe Carlos Hyde's out, but I like Sean Drone. I think he's a good, reliable back out of the backfield, and he's also getting involved in the passing game. Also, Chip Kelly's lines on the job is on the line here. Also, like I said, whenever you have a team that's 1-5, everyone's job's on the line, so you better step up or else someone's going to be taking your spot. So I think we see San Fran step it up this week. I think it will be a close game, no doubt. Neither of these teams are that great. But I like the home team in this one, and getting the +5 at home, I think there's value to that. So that's my tease. It is the San Diego right now currently at 12.5, and the San Francisco 49ers at +5, and that is my most confident pick this week. So we'll see how it goes, buddy.
Yeah, we'll definitely see. I'm seeing right now that Tampa Bay at San Fran is a pick'em, so you could even get that thing up to 6 for the 49ers if you wanted to. You mentioned Sean Drone. There's another guy, Mike Davis. I really want to watch Mike Davis, the other running back from South Carolina. I liked him in college. I thought he was as good or, if not better than Hyde. So I really hope that they give him a chance, and if we could see, maybe Mike Davis is a guy to look at looking forward, especially, some of you fantasy gurus.
Right.
But yeah, I could totally see it. I was just staying away from that one. Like you said, Tampa Bay has no Martin, San Fran has no Hyde, quarterbacks are both iffy. That was a stay away for me, but I could totally see, like you said, a 3-point game going either way, and you're winning that tease because of that.
Right.
So yeah, let's move on to my most confident play, and it's been something I've been looking hard at all week, and I really do, people are going to think I'm crazy for this. I really feel confident in the Pittsburgh Steelers getting 7.5 against the New England Patriots. I'm going all in on this. I really do believe in it right now. What I'm looking at is my big angle is Todd Haley and Le'Veon Bell. I mentioned it in the guessing lines thing, but there's something about Todd Haley. We're both from Pittsburgh, so we kind of get the sense around the town of just what kind of person he is. more off the field than on the field. Just the type of person that I think he is someone who, he's a prideful person. He's a very confident person, maybe a little overconfident sometimes. Maybe he comes off a little cocky or conceited sometimes. But he's somebody who takes pride in his craft, and he's just a master of an offense. He's always been a really good offensive coach, and he's going to look at this thing with Matt Patricia, one of the best defensive coordinators ever, and his protege, Bill Belichick, who's just a fiend. He's going to look at this challenge as arguably, the greatest challenge of his life. I don't have, Ben Roethlisberger. I know that Bill's going to take away what I love to do. Let me show him some things. And what he has is Marquise Pouncey. He has David DeCastro. Villanueva's playing fine. Ramon Foster, another guard. This is a really good offensive line. I know Marcus Gilbert is hurt, but they're going to run the ball behind this offensive line. Le'Veon Bell is going to touch the ball at least 30 times in this game.
He should.
Whether it be receiving, whether it be catching screens, whether it be the Wildcat, he's going to touch the ball an insane amount of times. And I know that the Patriots are going to load up the box and they're going to shut down, the run. That's going to be their key in this game because they know Landry Jones is not going to want to throw the ball. But I just see Le'Veon Bell has that vision and that patience and that footwork to where the second there's one little hole, he's in it, and he's in it for 5 yards. Last year, the Steelers played 4 games without Ben Roethlisberger. Le'Veon Bell was in all 4 of them. He averaged 115 yards per game. He carried the offense. He was averaging over 5 yards a carry with Landry Jones. And, we're talking about he played the Cardinals, a team that was favored by 7 points in Heinz Field, and the Steelers ended up winning that game. He did it against the Chiefs. He ran all over them. He did it against the Ravens. He ran all over them. So, these are not bad defenses that Le'Veon Bell, against stack boxes is running against. So I just think Todd Haley knows, the challenge in front of him. He knows he has the talent to, what it takes to win. This is Todd Haley as a guy that, he made the playoffs with Matt Castle, and he won games with Brody Croyle and Tyler Palko. This isn't a guy who his whole entire career has Ben Roethlisberger, and now he says, oh, God, what do I do?
Right.
Landry Jones, we all know he's not Ben Roethlisberger. It's arguably the biggest drop-off from starter to backup in the NFL. My big thing, as long as he doesn't turn the ball over early in the game, they're going to run the ball. Like I said, they're going to control the clock. They're going to keep this thing. It's going to go into the fourth quarter with the Steelers having a chance to win. I truly believe it because they're not going to turn the ball over, and they're going to get a few first downs. They're going to throw the Patriots out of a loop. I think Ryan Shazier's back, who's the big tight end defender. Robert Golden and Justin Gilbert have done good jobs defending tight ends. The Steelers are a top 10 team in the NFL when it comes to defending the tight end position. So, Martellus Bennett and Rob Gronkowski are great. I just don't think, they have the big games this week. Tom Brady took 3 sacks against Cincinnati last week. Most of them were coverage sacks. I really think that the Steelers might be able to get some coverage sacks this week, or at least get Brady to throw the ball away, to punt the ball, knowing that, I don't have to make the big plays because we can win this game 13-10. And the Steelers are saying, hey, if you want to win it 13-10, we're all there for it because we want the ball down 13-10 with the chance to win it. That's the type of game that we want to play. So I don't see it being more than in this spot in the nobody believes in us spot. Last time I saw it, over 90% of the bets were coming in on New England. I know you love, fading the public. The public thinks New England's, winning by 20 plus and, write the newspaper stories already. I'm just saying, not so fast, everybody. The Steelers should never be disrespected in this way where nobody believes in them getting a whole touchdown at home in Heinz Field where this team just dominates. There's more to the Steelers than just Ben Roethlisberger, and I think we see a lot of those pieces show up in a big game. So give me the Steelers. I know it's got to be, that 7.5. I'm looking for it. So give me the Steelers plus 7.5.
Yeah, I've been hearing you talk about them all week. I know you're a big fan of them this week. I'm also seeing them at plus 7 places. They're dropping down to a touchdown, so that's pretty interesting there.
Despite everybody in the world is on New England, it won't creep up for some reason. That's
right.
All I'm saying is why won't it creep up? Because there's a lot behind that.
Right. So there's a lot of things the Steelers are going to have to do right this game. Like you said, they need to control that clock. They need to control this tempo of the game because if they let Patriots, lead in time of possession this game, they're going to have a hard time keeping up. And that's all about keeping New England's offense off the field because we've had trouble with Gronk before, and they also with Martellus Bennett now. That's another guy we'll have to cover. It'll be tough, but they need to play a solid, sound game. Give Le'Veon the ball, and get Antonio Brown involved more in this game. He needs to be involved so he can move the chains and keep New England's offense off the field. I like the pick. I just don't have the guts to take it. So I'm with you there. I'll be rooting for the Steelers, but I actually just want to throw in an honorable mention for a pick that I had that didn't quite make the list, although I wanted to put it on the list. I teased the Steelers plus 13, and then I also took the Seattle-Arizona under at 49. So almost made the list. I mean, it'll probably hit just because it didn't make the list, but I feel confident in that play as well. Getting Steelers at plus 13, there's no way Patriots come in our house or into Steelers' house and blow them out, So that's my honorable mention there. So I think that's about it for our picks. Anything else you want to cover?
What was I gonna say? I had something to add about that Steelers game, but I mean, I'm wholeheartedly in on the Steelers getting 7.5. I just think that's way too much. That's about all I got.
Right, and it is fishy that it's not going up; it's only going down. So it's a fishy one.
My just thing about that was this is a game where you're going to kind of see in the first quarter whether or not you win this bet or not. If Landry Jones throws a pick in the first quarter and it's 7-0, scrap the ticket, it's over. But if this thing's 0-0, or if the Steelers' first drive, goes 7 or 8 minutes and they get a field goal, they're going to be hanging around for the entire game, and you could bet on that one. Also, the Patriots play the Buffalo Bills next week. I know you're not looking past the Steelers in Heinz Field, but you don't need to destroy that team because you're playing the team that you want revenge against. They are that one loss as the Bills. Just two little other things just to throw in there.
Right, yeah. So, I mean, the under could be a possible play as well. I believe it's set at 47.5 right now. So, if Steelers' game plan goes according to plan, that could be a play there.
Yeah, I agree with you. But yeah, do you just want to go through your 5 picks real quick, recap it for us?
Yeah, so my least confident pick is the Minnesota Vikings at Philadelphia Eagles. I'm going with the under, which is under 39.5. My second pick is the Kansas City Chiefs -6. They're hosting the New Orleans Saints. My third pick is the Tennessee Titans -3 at home, and they will be hosting division rival Indianapolis. What the heck was my fourth one? Hold on.
It was the Chargers tease with
right, yeah, it was the
Niners.
All right, good call. So I got San Diego at plus 12.5 right now. Probably going to wait till we can see if we can get them at 7, and then I have the San Francisco 49ers at right now at plus 5, but you just said they're at even now, so you could possibly get them at plus 6. And then, that's it for me. Or wait, no, what's my last one? Jeez, I completely just forgot what my last pick was. All right, well,
did you say the Jets already?
Yeah, that's what I missed. That's what threw me off. Jets is my fourth. Jets is my fourth, and then that tease is my fifth. But
there it is.
Yeah, but we're both on the Jets this week, so let's go Jets.
Yeah, we're both on the Jets. We're also both on this under between the Vikings and the Eagles. I teased the under instead of took it straight up. So I got the under at 45.5, the Eagles at plus 9. I'm looking at the Jets -2. We're looking at the under in that Seattle-Arizona game. I believe you said you teased that as well. We got the Chargers plus 6.5 and the Steelers plus 7. So I'm liking some dogs. I'm excited for this weekend. That Steelers game has me excited. I want to see them show up and hopefully cover that spread for me. So I'm pretty ready to go. I know we have the Western Conference over-under win totals. If you guys are into the NBA, should be coming up this week. Our Eastern Conference is already posted. If you want to check that out, that's at thesportsfellas.com. Again, follow us on Twitter at thesportsfellas. Any last shots you want to add in, Dave, before we head into the weekend?
Just follow me at TSF Dave. That's my Twitter account. And good luck to everyone. Let's make some good plays this week.
Cheers, guys. You guys have a great weekend. We'll hit you guys up hopefully either Monday or, if not, a little later with that Western pod. But we'll have a Guessing Lines pod for you on Monday. So you guys have a great weekend.
All right. See you guys.